He's a sword god from a world destroyed, accidentally entering the body of a weak human. He promised to protect our family in exchange for control over this body. But he soon realized that this world full of fake supernatural beings has no heroes like before. They have similar powers but only one profession: hunters. Hunters enter dungeons called Hellgates to hunt monsters and trade their souls for wealth, as the original owner of this body was just an ordinary person, making him poorer than a dog. So Seo Jo-jun decided to check out the nearest dungeon, but he was warned before even getting close. This sea-level gate requires at least 3 hunters to enter. Regular people are forbidden from approaching. He didn't care about these warnings, because breaking the gate would allow entry. After breaking the gate in front of him, he was teleported to a strange place. Here, the aura is twice as dense compared to outside. In just a moment, Jun had killed over 30 monsters, but their souls dropped were to low level. After 8 minutes, he only got 12 low-grade and 16 common-grade soul stones. Bong heard a call and turned around. Suddenly, a group of people like debt collectors lined up to question him. "We're from the control center. Please provide your hero registration ID. If you haven't registered, come to the station for some free snacks and tea." Hearing this, he couldn't understand what they were saying. The team leader seemed displeased and repeated, "Please follow our instructions." Knowing that common characters could be troublesome, Giorgione didn't argue but turned away. They immediately ordered to hit him. A blonde man grabbed his arm and threatened, "If you don't cooperate, any injuries from resistance will be your responsibility." Jun didn't say much, breaking the man's wrist and retorting, "So what if we accidentally kill someone during a fight?" The blonde man's face turned pale. He couldn't believe it. A level S hunter couldn't see the movements of an ordinary person. Let's go back to Seo Jun's previous life. His world was destroyed, and mutated monsters roamed everywhere. People had to fight monsters just to survive. And Jun, our protagonist, lived his entire life with a sword in hand. Standing on the ground, Jun panted heavily after defeating a monster. Day after day, it was always sword fights. Month after month, like an endless loop, Jun raised his sword at the monster and spent a year in constant battles. 10 years passed as he fought one monster after another. With just one sword, he could cut any monster in half. Fear was no longer a concept to him. Then came the day when he faced a huge, dangerous monster. Its terrifying red eyes told him to give up, as his world was gone. Jun's face remained cold and unyielding. He stared at it with intense resolve, still talking nonsense. Jealous of his talent, the monster ordered him to become its sword. Seo Jun gritted his teeth in anger upon hearing these words. Without wasting breath on this arrogant monster, he charged forward. Quickly, he was right before it and raised his sword high. The monster began to move. It tried to grab him, but Jun dodged nimbly. His eyes were only red as he observed. Seo Jun skillfully stayed in the air. He glared at the monster with anger. The monster launched a straight punch and Jun blocked it. It didn't stop, it kept attacking, seeing him as just a weak insect struggling. By now, the protagonist was severely injured, coughing up blood. But he still fought on. In one swift motion, Jun charged towards the giant monster. He continued to charge like a missile. The monster raised its hand again to strike him down. With a slash, it sent him crashing into the ground. Despite the dust and debris, Jun managed to stand up, now looking at the monster as a real devil. Its necklace suddenly emitted light. Jun immediately noticed with determination. The monster prepared to deliver the final blow, but Jun continued to fight, raising his sword. He successfully dodged that fatal attack. A huge shockwave erupted from the giant monster's strike as Jun lowered his head. The blue necklace broke into pieces. He immediately showed great anger. Jun stood straight, waiting for his reward. The necklace was completely shattered. The monster let out a mournful cry and vanished into thin air. Jun was now exhausted. He leaned back. He lay on the ground with injuries all over him, trying to open his eyes. A shooting star flew past, admiring the beautiful night sky as Giorgione felt it was a stunning sight. Drops of water evaporated into thin air, and the scene changed to somewhere where someone was walking. The main character appeared with black hair in a modern city street. His determined eyes looked ahead. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. Giorgione had arrived at the South Sandby entrance, Level C area, which recommended a minimum of 3 heroes for entry. Reminders to scan registration codes and personal ID codes echoed everywhere. The main character calmly put his hand in his pocket as he walked past the warnings meant for non-heroes. Soon, he stood before Yonsan-gu, a special city within Seoul. He ignored the warnings and boldly kicked down the gate with his foot. With a light push, the door crashed to the ground. The alarm blared loudly. It warned that unregistered heroes had entered the portal illegally. Do-jun's face remained cold and expressionless. He was now inside the forest, walking forward. Suddenly, a call for the young man caught his attention. A group of heroes were nearby. They thought he was lost. The Georgian brothers said they were preparing to leave and might let him follow them, but Do-jun only gave them a critical look in response. His companions began discussing how his appearance didn't match that of a hero at all. He stared back without saying anything. They continued talking about his workmanlike style. Then they noticed the black bags on his back. They thought he was a useless worker brought in by heroes and discarded mid-journey. Hearing their chatter, Do-jun finally spoke up, saying he had just arrived. One of them confidently said he was left behind. The English brother Dia suggested politely that they should discuss the reason for coming here. The group stopped talking loudly like a market. Just watching those things on TV and wanting to hunt monsters is suicide. You might as well commit suicide. First, you need a hero certificate. After training and passing tests, then dream of it. This South Sand Gate is level C, so newbies should go back to F Gate for practice. Do-jun replied that he understood the advice but didn't need it. The group looked at him with confusion and helplessness. They were furious, wanting to attack him but stopped by their leader. The English brother Dia could only say if they ignored his advice, they would let him experience things on his own. He would then know the gate was not like TV or social media, it was real hell. At this moment, Do-jun noticed something and turned to look intently. Before him stood a huge green monster with sharp fangs. Its bright red eyes glowed as if spotting juicy meat. Do-jun showed no fear. He immediately dropped his backpack on the ground. His eyes closed, preparing to act. The monster attacked first, but Do-jun dodged quickly. Do-jun's eyes flashed coldly, saying 10 years. The green monster continued attacking him, but then it suddenly paused in shock. The main character had appeared beside the monster with a terrifying expression and raised fist. With one punch, its head vanished. Poor green monster. Not even fully formed yet, it lost its head. It fell to the ground, blood pooling round it. Do-jun landed coolly. He coldly remarked that 10 years made no difference. Do-jun scanned the monster closely before bending down. He picked up a special-shaped sword from the monster. His eye stopped on the blade, not out of curiosity, but deep contemplation. Then he looked down at the motionless monster beneath him. Instantly, red blood sprayed like fireworks. Do-jun used that sword to stab the monster with one swift cut. A while later, he took out a magic stone from its body. The light from the stone shimmered, indicating low-level earth magic. Before, it was such poor material that no one bothered to look at it. Jun opened his backpack and carefully placed the magic stone inside. Suddenly, he sensed a sharp aura behind him and cautiously looked around. The monster's footsteps shook the ground as they moved step by step. Not just one, but 3 monsters were attacking. The lead monster swung its sword at Jun from behind, but he quickly ducked to avoid it. Jun hadn't put the magic stone away yet and still held it in his hand. He casually threw it at another monster. The stone hit the monster's head just right, causing its head to spin with its neck. Jun quickly lowered his backpack to the ground. The remaining 2 monsters roared angrily and charged at him. Jun's face remained cold and emotionless. Meanwhile, the 4 heroes were wandering in the forest. The orange-haired girl was worried, the unlucky guy from earlier. What if he really died? The young man asked. Worrying about him, huh? The middle-aged man sighed. If he were an unauthorized intruder, this would be his situation now. The gate monitoring center would have sent people by now. As expected, the security team acted. They ran as fast as they could to Georgione's location. He explained straight away that this South Sand Gate is only level C, so higher-level agents might be assigned. As long as he doesn't foolishly rush into the monsters, he won't die either. Never mind, the guy who provoked him agreed. His words were certainly right. That disrespectful kid must be scared of Jun now, waiting for someone to save him. But who's afraid of those monsters that Jun fears? Jun delivered a powerful punch to its face. After dealing with this one, another monster swung its sword at his back. But the sword missed Jun and plunged into the ground, sending up a cloud of dust. The monster sweated in panic, not seeing its target. Just then, Jun suddenly appeared from behind it. He lifted his leg high and delivered a powerful kick to its head. The monster didn't even have time to yawn before bleeding out. In no time, both monsters logged off the server. Georgiou picked up the monster's weapon at this moment. He swung it hard, adding 3 more magic stones. The sky was clear and bright like a huge mirror without a flaw. Georgiou carried his heavy backpack as he walked. While he was still dazed in thought, a security guard appeared behind him. Today's haul is boring. So far, 12 low-level and 16 sub-low-level stones. A team member reported loudly, "There's something wrong. Let's hurry this way." Jun turned to look. He frowned suspiciously as a security guard appeared in front of him, exuding an aura of danger. The orange-haired monitor called out, "We're from the Gate Entry Monitoring Department. Please present your registered hero card. If you are not a registered hero, please follow us to the center." Jun asked back, "Gate Monitoring Center?" The monitor repeated softly, "Please cooperate and follow instructions." He was extremely annoyed inside. What now? Such a hassle. Jun looked at him disdainfully and lazily turned around. Forget it. His attitude made the monitor angry, ordering harshly, "Show your badge." The blonde security guard loudly commanded, "Please cooperate a little. Can we do this? If you don't follow our orders, we'll have to take compulsory measures." Jun didn't respond. The security guard grabbed his hand. He spoke in a firm tone. "Any damage caused during resistance will be entirely your responsibility. Best to come with us to the settlement center for Yen's issue." But Jun silently grabbed the other man's wrist, and the blonde security guard looked frightened. And so the scene began. Seeing him resist, 2 others drew their weapons. 2 electric batons crossed, emitting a cold blue light. Jun glanced at it, assessing that the force level for Seal would only affect lower-level creatures like ORCs. He used strong force to bend the blonde guard's arm, causing him intense pain. Jun warned in a low voice, "This is your last warning." His face darkened with impatience. "If you don't want more harm, move now." Jun stood still as he faced 2 guards attacking at once, easily deflecting their blows barehanded. Another guard rushed in and kicked him in the neck. Meanwhile, Jun bent his leg to strike. Then he struck hard on another security guard's waist, causing him to cry out in pain. Jun continued with a powerful kick to his stomach, sending him flying. The brown-haired guard hesitated after seeing his teammates defeated so easily. Meanwhile, the supervisor could only watch and do nothing. Jun turned to face the remaining guard, his figure becoming hazy. The supervisor shivered in fear, staring wide-eyed. "Where are we?" Suddenly, Jun appeared and punched him hard in the stomach. The supervisor clutched his stomach and fell to the ground. Jun called out, "Hey!" He stopped breathing for a moment before asking, "What's going on?" Jun asked, "If you register as a hero with the association, would that prevent any trouble?" The supervisor nodded in fear, agreeing that as long as no serious illegal activities occurred at the gate, there was no reason for special forces to intervene. Jun continued, "What's a demilitarized zone?" His question startled him. It's a gateway to another world where strange creatures from all over appear. Items obtained by defeating monsters in that place have become new energy sources. The government sealed off the entrance and imprisoned those creatures inside, which is the gate. Areas not yet sealed by the gate are called demilitarized zones. Jun pressed on with his questioning. Regardless of what kind of gate it was, you would still rush in to intervene, right? His anger made veins bulge, And then those heroes ended up committing illegal acts like unauthorized entry. The supervisor wiped sweat nervously as he tried to explain. Yes, that's exactly how it is. If someone not registered as a hero enters the gate, he weakly replied in a soft voice, "My name is Du-jun. I won't make it much longer. If you're willing to help, I'll quietly disappear." You planted things upside down and rejected harshly. No! The Du-jun entity was awkward, not knowing how to respond. He continued in a cold voice, "There's nothing left for me to regret about this life. Memories of my homeland have gradually faded, 10 years immersed in combat, yet betrayed by comrades from behind. My homeland is fallen, no one remains, not even friends or family. It seems like I've lost purpose, no matter how well I live. It's just receiving these things in the end, and eventually, I'll be no different." The Du-jun entity replied firmly, "I don't care about my fate, but I don't want father and uncle you to experience such a life." He sighed impatiently upon hearing this. "So what? Get straight to the point. What do you want? I'll listen." You immediately cheered up happily. The Du-jun entity placed his hand on his left leg and sincerely proposed, "What I need is..." The scene shifts to the Gazen Digital Complex in Demicheonseon District. Now it's called the Hero Complex because this place has more secondary item trading ports than anywhere else in the tech industry. Du-jun walked through the noisy streets with a cold, detached demeanor and stopped in front of a nearby store, mumbling to himself that it looked alright. As Giorgione stepped in, Al greeted him hoarsely, "Welcome, sir." Giorgione put his hand in his pocket and cleared his throat. "I want to sell some spirit stones." Hearing this, he brightened up. "You're at the right place. We buy spirit stones at the highest prices not just in Seoul, but throughout the country." Immediately after, Giorgione dumped all the spirit stones he had taken from the monsters onto the counter. El frowned fearfully at the red rocks before him. "At least clean them of blood first before bringing them here." Despite this, he chuckled and said, "The spirit stones you brought are quite a lot too, sir. Please wait while we sort them out." While waiting, "Please enjoy some coffee," Du-jun lazily replied, "Anything will do." The atmosphere fell silent for a moment as El dried the magic stone and Du-jun sipped his coffee. After a while, he started settling up. 12 lower-grade spirit stones, 16 mid-lower grade ones, and 5 upper-grade ones. The transaction fee is 40% of the purchase price. You know that, right? Io smiled and displayed the total amount on her computer. 5,460,000 gun. Du-jun impatiently interrupted, stopping. He coldly pressed his question to Io. "I'm a risk-taker who hunts monsters, while you just sit there buying them, and taking 40% of the fee too." He immediately felt guilty and retracted, "Sorry." But he still boldly said, "You didn't know. Usually we take up to 45%. Reducing it by 40% is quite lenient for you. If you don't want to sell, just take them back, but no matter where you go, the price won't be as good." Du-jun didn't say much more and emptied all the magic stones into his bag, taking it with him. Before he could leave, Io held onto his hand. He narrowed his eyes. "You still have to pay for the spirit stone sorting fee and the coffee. The coffee isn't free. The sorting fee is 300,000 won, and the coffee is 10,000 won. Bloodstained cloths are expensive to clean, so add another 35,000 won. The total is 350,000 won." Du-jun sighed and pulled his hand away forcefully. "I don't have the money. Try taking this fist then." Io immediately turned hostile. He gritted his teeth cunningly. "You'll still have to pay because we're backed by several hero-class protectors, you know? This bastard. Do you think you can escape?" As he finished speaking, a few tall and dark men came out. The scowlingly looked around and spoke arrogantly. "What's this? What's going on again? Is there anyone else causing trouble?" Lee looks at him with a sly glance, his eyes wild as he stares intently. The waste was just boasting earlier, but seeing this scene, fear takes over and they cower in a corner praying. The scarred face of Giorgio N. throws himself roughly towards him. He lies weakly on the ground in pain. Not only that, the other two have been dealt with already. They are scattered everywhere. Do-jun finally steps forward slowly to the waist. He's still trembling from fear as he suggests something, but his tone is coercive, like a rose is a percent of poison. He smiles gently and advises, starting now we should do business properly. After a long while, outside the store, an unwilling voice says, come back another time. As soon as he gets home, Do-jun places money heavily on the table. Both his grandmother and grandfather's eyes widen in shock. The grandmother asks worriedly, where did you get this money from, Do-jun? He scratches his head awkwardly, explaining, no, not like that. I lent some money to a friend for starting a business, and it turned out very successful. The grandmother doesn't believe him and asks again, you have such a friend, you're reading my mind. Do-jun remains silent. He has to make up an excuse. I know, that's the friend we used to play with when growing up. Although worried, his grandmother believes him straight away. Of course we do. The grandfather is relieved and smiles. Oppa, are we rich now? Do-jun nods, smiling and scratching the head of the little girl. From now on, excited by his brother's words, Eun-young jumps up and down happily. We're rich now. We are already rich. Do-jun stares at her with a thoughtful expression, trying to look innocent. He silently recalls the time when he made that offer as his original self. You and Eun-young. You earnestly look at him. Please let them live in a safer house than anywhere else. And then he disappears before I could answer. Do-jun looks at himself in the mirror, thinking about what happened when he woke up. Now I am Do-jun. The safest house in Korea currently costs 110 billion won. I don't have a duty to keep a one-sided promise, but looking down at my hand, I think as long as I regain my strength, money is nothing. The monster's gate, everything here is weaker than the world I witnessed collapsing. For me, a sword god, this place is for children only. He frowns slightly. I haven't recovered even 10% of my power yet. While they were happily celebrating, someone shouts from outside, Do-jun, are you in there? He stands up and reassures his grandmother. I'll go check, stay here. Calmly stepping out to open the door. In front of Do-jun are two thugs. The brown-haired one threatens, Do-jun, you should pay your debt on time, right? The blonde one follows with a dirty hand. Do you know how much you owe? A huge amount of 48 million won. Do-jun closes his eyes and sighs. It must be the high-interest loan I took before dying. Do-jun really did. 5 million won for hospital fees turned into 10 times that in a short time. He doesn't answer. The brown-haired one bends down and demands, did you get money from the gate? Hand it over here. The blonde one points at Do-jun's stomach. It's all in your contract, you know that. So don't do that, it's unfair. While he was still talking, his fist appeared in front of him. But the one who got hit was the brown-haired guy behind. The impact from you sent him flying into the wall with a loud bang, making the blonde guy scared. After a moment, he finally came to and shouted something. His body trembling emitted intense killing intent, threatening in return. I've already paid over 9 million won. Shouldn't I be the one receiving the money? The blonde guy was now cowering, shaking uncontrollably. It's really just because he's scared. Without saying much more, Do held up his fist and threatened to visit him soon. Then a loud yell from the blonde guy echoed into the blue sky, cutting to the bustling shopping center. After dealing with the two thugs, Do-jun led Eun-young into the toy store. The little girl looked up excitedly and exclaimed, did you really buy it? Can I get a new doll too? Do-jun smiled gently. Of course, we already bought clothes. Now you can take anything you want. He looked at the little girl with an indulgent gaze, sharing his memories. My previous emotions began to change now. It's just empathy now, but Do-jun is very kind to his sister Eun-young. He softly chuckled to himself, at least I'll protect that feeling. After some selection, Eun-wai picked up a small stuffed rabbit hesitantly and asked, Uncle, can I take this one? He looked at the little rabbit in her hand. Do-jun directly took a larger bear. Looking at his sister with a gentle gaze, he said, I told you to pick anything you want. Anwai scratched his head and laughed happily. Then Jo-jun led him to eat. Both of them were quietly enjoying their meal. Jo-jun was eating ramen while Anwai chose hamburgers and french fries. Suddenly, a voice shouted out, drawing their attention. Hold on, Jo-jun, it's really you. The person who arrived is Hong Hee-ju's daughter. She smirked slightly. What do you look like? Dressed like that? You don't look good at all. And who's the guy next to you? Did you do something bad and make someone pregnant like your mother? She mentioned Jo-jun's mother, pushing him to his limit. But with Yoon Young here, he tried to hold back from reacting. Yoon Young chewed thoughtfully. Who is this lady? Do-jun remained silent and patient. Hong Hee-ju's daughter lifted her lips into a smug smile, looking at the two with disdainful eyes. Anwai innocently chewed on her hamburger without understanding what was happening. Then she noticed the little girl. What's your name? Yoon Young politely replied. Lee Yoon Young. Hearing that, she glanced at her and said, Liu Young Young, are you from the Liu family? Look at how you're dressed, you look just like your mother. Looking at Jo-jun, isn't it? Seeing him not responding, she continued to taunt. So now you've gone mute too, huh? Not answering? Her attitude was like someone who had stolen rice. After verbally abusing Jo-jun, she turned to mock Anwai. Hey kid, do you know what a cicada means? This time, it really made him extremely angry. Jo-jun gritted his teeth and nearly shouted. You're truly an ugly woman, like an orc. Hong Hee-ju's daughter couldn't believe what she heard, shockingly freezing in place. Jo-jun's face is extremely scary right now, very different from the little boy she used to know. Jo-jun's past was incredibly tragic. Jo-jun was born out of wedlock and lived in poverty. At 7, his mother passed away, and he barely managed to get into his father's house. He lived for over 10 years under discrimination and contempt. After the legitimate wife gave birth to his son, he was completely abandoned. Then he was kicked out and lived with his half-brother in his grandmother's house. He tried to remember that gentle smile and softly called him Dudu. How did he endure all of this? But now, he has made a decision. Everything will be different from now on. Immediately after, Juno stood up, responding with, We lived together for 12 years, but it still feels disgusting to me. Each word and sentence made her feel shocked. Not only is your appearance and personality messed up, but you're also stupid and can't study at all. Even the two bodyguards, who stood there silently, were sweating profusely. You only feel inferior to any woman who's prettier or nicer than you. You're just someone who cares about your younger brother's money, not much better than this child. I didn't attract attention from the center at all. In fact, I added a sentence that made no difference. Jun remained silent, looking at Hong Hee-ju's daughter. Hearing his words, she frowned and suddenly a gentle voice echoed. It had been a long time since we met. It was a well-dressed woman, but her face was very haughty. Seeing her appear, she ran over to hug her excitedly. She whispered slyly, Does your mother know what that devil just said to you? Haiju quickly cut off the conversation with a dismissive tone. Stop! She gritted her teeth and narrowed her eyes. You stand there! What kind of uncivilized behavior is this? Then Haiju changed her attitude to smile and ask, It's indeed Jun. How are you doing lately? No matter how busy you are, I hope you come home sometimes. Zeuner only saw someone who was causing trouble when she saw her. She is the most fake person. You're the one who has hurt me the most over these 12 years. Haiju continued to speak with false words. Your father cares a lot about you. Jun didn't want to hear those words anymore and cut her off. Disgusting. You're mocking us, but we're not exchanging pleasantries here, right? Jun clearly showed his hostility towards her. Go away! Haiju's face changed immediately. She angrily turned and left, leaving her daughter confused. Hizu walked quickly, thinking, Is this the Zozan I know? Even when hit unjustly, he still lowered his head. Her daughter hurriedly ran after calling, Mother, should we go together? The two Zozans looked at their mother and daughter's backs as they left. Zozan said, Let's go. Okay, the girl sadly replied, Yes, sir. I remind myself that it's better for her safety if she realizes this on the way home with Haiju. In the car, she was reapplying her makeup while her daughter kept jumping around. Why did you leave like that? You should deal with him, she said more and more angrily. Does your mother know what he said to you? That bastard, does your mother know what he just said to you? Haiju ignored her words. She closed her makeup box and called out, "Manager." The other person responded with a yes. Hizu's face darkened as she angrily questioned, "Why is Jojin still alive?" Manager Lee rubbed his head awkwardly, explaining that according to Kang Chien-woo's report, Jojin was left at the entrance. Hearing the truth, she became angrier. Why is that supposed to be dead guy still alive? The manager stammered in fear. "I'm sorry, I'll check again." The daughter was confused and hesitant. He should have been dead, right? What are you mom's words? Haiju crossed her arms, frowning deeply, trying to look scary enough for anyone to be afraid. The daughter lost her composure completely. "Mom, what did you say?" She screamed loudly. "What are you doing, Mom? Are you trying to kill Jojun?" Seeing her reaction, Haiju asked a question that made her blush. "Do you still like Jojun?" The daughter shouted in denial. "No, not like that if Dad or Grandpa found out." Before she could finish, she was tightly silenced by the other woman. Hizu leaned close and threatened, "This is something we need to handle ourselves. Mind your own business." The daughter cried in fear. She retorted unhappily, "How dare you talk to me like that, you scum?" Hizu silently resolved, "I'll get rid of you at any cost." 10 years ago, after the watermarks appeared, monsters emerged and killed people. Although chaos reigned supreme, it subsided immediately with the hero's appearance. With mana stones from the monsters, Du-jun sat in his car admiring the city of Ingle with mana stones replacing traditional energy sources. The world poured all its energy into blocking watermarks with portals, and now everything revolves around the portals and heroes. Suddenly stopping the taxi, you need to become a hero if you want to make money now. The taxi stopped in front of Yongdongpo HCS Hospital. As he stepped out, he sighed, "Here we are at Yongdongpo HCS Hospital." Du-jun slowly entered, looking like a hospital from the outside, but was actually a place where gangsters gathered inside. The gang leader smoked a cigarette. He spoke arrogantly, "Who are you, scum?" Behind him were two debt collectors who were beaten by Jo-jun. Trang flicked the cigarette ash and continued, "You beat up my underlings, and still dare to come here now?" Jo-jun sat down, his voice firm. "No matter what you think, I'm the one who's been wronged." The gang leader laughed sarcastically at him. "Wronged? Are you saying you've been wronged?" Du-jun firmly demanded, "I believe I deserve compensation for the mental, physical, and material damages I suffered due to your actions over time." Noticing his attitude was different from before, he sized up Du-jun. His gentle nature had changed, considering how he beat up his employees. It seems he underwent a awakening in Kong. Wanting to overpower him with his strength, he stood up and leaned close. "It looks like you found something that boosted your confidence. Let me tell you what happens to those who are arrogant after being awakened." Quickly, a few other gang members entered the room. Each one looked at Du-jun with half-lidded eyes in disdain. Trang and his friends greeted him, but he stood up and left. "These scumbags who are proud of their awakening, they're still just trash." He paused and said, "I have many subordinates who can make a small lowly guy like you shut up." Du-jun was silent for a moment before he suddenly spoke, sitting down, making Trang's mouth drop as she turned to look at him. Du-jun warned with a stern voice, "I'm not done yet." Before the gang leader Kondo could react, the glasses-wearing Kondo rushed forward and shouted, "What? A lowly guy like you dare talk to me like that?" Du-jun took off his glasses and used just enough force to punch him in the face. One punch was enough to knock him down, the other stood dumbfounded. Next up was another thug who got a punch. "You not only deal with private loan sharks, right?" Jun turned to physically affect a few others. "I know you also make fake ID cards. Since Jun doesn't hold back, I need a hero card to earn money." He quickly turned to attack another one. Jun threw out a powerful punch without giving anyone a chance to dodge. Soon, Jun defeated all the scum. He glanced at the boss and ordered, "I want you to do it perfectly with no trouble." Then, Jun showed something that surprised him. He had time until tomorrow. The blonde and brown-haired guys who fought earlier were sweating coldly. Meanwhile, Trangsif was furious and upset. What kind of strength is this? He's not a D class. Is he C class? No, maybe B class. He didn't answer. Jun impatiently asked again. Are you going to answer me? Trangsif nervously stood straight and hesitated. All right. Jun pressed his hand on his shoulder, questioning closely. Oh right, by the way. His whole body exuded intense killing intent. His eyes flashed with danger. Ha Hiju ordered you to kill me, didn't she? Trangsif gulped as he was hit on the mark. Jun impatiently pressed his shoulder and repeated. Answer me! He screamed in pain. None of his subordinates dared to move. Trangsif shouted again. That woman, Hong Hiju said, that it would be great if we made you struggle with your debts until you ended your life. That's what she told me. Even though he got the information, Jun still seemed not to hear his pleas and released him. Let me go. Please let me go. After a while, he released Trangsif and questioned, that's why she locked me in the gate, right? He trembled and struggled to explain. I don't know anything about that. Really, I swear. Trangsif pleaded with clasped hands. I wouldn't get paid if you were inside, so I would never send you there, I swear. Dudu rubbed his chin in thought. Then he firmly ordered, keep it under control. That bastard brought me to the gate. I don't want him to bring information about that guy to me tomorrow. Trangsif struggled to say each word. I got it. Then he opened the door arrogantly and left. The blonde hesitated at the door, struggling with his words. Jun frowned in thought. He recalled what Dujun said originally. Please let her and us live in a safer house than anywhere else. He gritted his teeth in anger, determined. That bastard. Now I'll get to fix everything. Jun took out his B-class hero card. Then he swiped it into the sensor of the gate machine for identification. The large gates gradually opened with a notification. Your hero card has been accepted. Your rank is lower than recommended. Very dangerous. After a while, he closed his eyes and looked resigned. Jejun mentioned the sword surrounded by black smoke from beyond the grave. It was old and worn out, but I guess there's no other choice. Even if a sword is that old, its power depends on who wields it. He moved forward slowly and whispered, this sword! The snake eagle at the ceiling opened its wide mouth to swallow his body whole, but Jun only wanted to send a message to the sword's owner. Can I borrow this for a moment? As soon as he said that, he leaped up, leaving behind a white smoke where he was. He did a flip in midair. Not sure if it understood, but he still teased before delivering the final move. Be honored, we will personally eliminate this person. Snake head. Giorgio N's gloved hand tightened on the sword's hilt, preparing to deliver a powerful strike. It roared fiercely and lunged at him, but he countered with an equally impressive move. A blinding light flashed as Giorgio N's attack successfully pierced the monster's thick defenses. He sighed in relief. Then, seeing that his sword was broken into a mere fragment, he felt even more dismayed. If we can't defeat it, this will be a disaster. Afterward, Jun approached the fallen boss and used his sharp gloves to remove one of its parts. In his hand was a large fang that could serve as a weapon. It was shorter than a greatsword, but if I sharpened it, it might be useful. Afterward, Jun put on the belt and continued on his journey. At least this is better than Nan San. He left only when the night was fully dark and the full moon rose high. Jun silently blamed himself. Thinking about how much time he spent on a level B gate, he clenched his fists in determination. Restoring power was top priority. Looking up at the sky, he imagined old comrades' faces. He was glad that his former teammates didn't see his current state. With dawn, the Magic Stone trading store opened and welcomed heroes. A customer placed about 10 magic stones on the counter from his bag. The attendant examined them and assessed. It seemed he had collected some high-quality magic stones. Our usual commission is 40%. The seller frowned. Isn't that a bit too much? I'm a regular customer. Can't you give me a discount? The attendant didn't change his mind. He pulled out a thick stack of money and argued, knowing our commission is the lowest outside, right? Only the portal center charges a fixed 5% fee, and we don't keep transaction records, so no taxes for you. After counting, he tied up the money and placed it on the counter before pushing it towards the seller. If you think about it, this is a clean deal with no complications at that price. The seller counted the money, his mouth moving silently. Then, seeing the attendant's bruised face, he asked hesitantly, "But what happened to your face?" Upon hearing the question, he became annoyed but told the story anyway. "A crazy guy appeared and defeated our guards, leaving me in this state." The seller shook his head disappointedly. "Al, you're too self-satisfied just because you have a C-level guard. I've said it before, ranks don't mean much. What matters is practical skill. Ranks are only for officials' convenience. Actual ability is different. If you think all guards of the same rank have similar skills, you're completely wrong." He continued talking with increasing enthusiasm, not stopping to catch his breath. The difference between a newly licensed guard and an experienced hero was significant. He felt tired just thinking about it. "Oh my, if you finish your transaction, go away. Don't jump around anymore." After some time, the friend relaxed and put on his backpack to leave. "We've known each other for a while, so if you need help, just call me." As he left, he passed by someone going in the opposite direction. This person was none other than Giorgio N. With a cold expression, he approaches the exchange counter. Al sees his terrifying face and jumps back in surprise. Then he suddenly steps back and shouts, "That's him! It's that scoundrel who got me into this mess." The vendor stops walking when he hears this, looking at Giorgio with a surprised expression. "This guy, he's tall and looks quite neat. And did he cause trouble here?" The vendor's sudden pause turns 180 degrees. He furrows his brow, doing a stretching motion. "Hey, you're the one causing trouble here, right? Calling yourself a hero but fighting civilians. Don't you know heroes aren't allowed to touch ordinary people?" He grinned smugly at the scene before him. This guy is a 7-year veteran hero. He has all sorts of connections with other heroes. So if you cause trouble with him, Dujun was expecting a stern reprimand, but instead he just said 2 words, "Go away." The vendor's face turns pale at this. Al outside the conversation feels satisfied. Dujun tilts his head and asks the vendor, "Do you want revenge or something?" This makes him angry, clenching his fists so hard that the veins on his hands stand out. Little brat. But then a thought flashes through his mind. Damn it, the main reason for Hiro's death was unintentional fights with colleagues, not monsters. Clearly, he encountered a dangerous situation. The 7-year veteran hero's intuition kicked in, and since he trusted his intuition, his attitude changed. He grunts a few times and leaves awkwardly before Io's surprised gaze. "We'll meet again. Run away now." Dujun glances at Al, who is still speechless in shock. His next words make him shudder. Does he have a problem with me? Without waiting for an answer, Dujun throws a bag full of magic stones at Io. After he picks up the bag and looks inside, he orders, "Let's go." Just glancing over it, Io starts sweating in fear. Hold on, these are high-grade magic stones. So who is this guy? But since he needs to do business, he doesn't argue and starts typing on his computer. After sorting everything out, he announces a total of 150 million guons. Dujun secretly feels disappointed, only 150 million from a day's hunt, but he still reaches out, giving me 150 million. Io stammers, "Wait, we still need capital letters." Dujun's black face makes him jump. "Did I say something wrong?" Dujun laughs and nods. "Right, the roses are 1%. So it's 14.8 million guons. Here you go." Io raises his fist in anger. "You scoundrel, I said the roses were 40%. Are you deaf?" But really, all of this is just his rich imagination. About that, for transactions over 100 million guons, we need management approval. Dujun's face hardens, "Then go get it now." Io pulls out his phone and calls the manager to brief him on the situation. "Yes, boss, this is the situation. But before he could finish, Giorgio N. suddenly interrupts the conversation. He directly talks to the owner with a tone like a father. He heard that, right? Tell them to pay up. On the other end, the boss could hear the deceitful tone soften a bit. Alright, I get it, but please give the phone back to the employee. Giorgio N. Hearing this, he forcefully threw it towards the wall behind him instead of giving it back in good condition. Io nervously glanced at his broken phone, sweat pouring down as he clutched it tightly. Do-jun didn't know how to react and urged him on. The so-called manager just agreed. Where's the money now? So he had to obediently prepare bags filled with cash. Yes, received payment. Do-jun happily left the shop without looking back. Be more polite next time. Al couldn't cry silently while glaring at him. Being polite doesn't mean forcing others. 10 minutes later, the shop door opened again. The boss hurriedly entered and asked El, who was on duty in the countryside, "Hey, why didn't you answer? What were you calling about just now?" In front of him stood Io, drained and head against the wall. Looking down with a distant gaze, he exclaimed, "Boss, I'm quitting." Beside Io was his still unextracted phone. "I can't take it anymore." The boss narrowed his eyes to assess the situation. His next action woke up Io from her dejection. The boss dialed a number. "Hey, Jusian, it's me. You need to come here." On the other end was a tall girl with striking purple hair, drawing attention wherever she went, even just walking down the street. Jusian stepped through the crowd, people increasingly gathering around her. Someone exclaimed, "Isn't that Hyun? It's really Hyun Jusian." Despite the attention, her face remained unchanged. Soon, Jusian arrived at the shop to exchange magical stones. Hearing a customer arrive, Al greeted them instinctively. Seeing the guests trembling, he exclaimed in surprise, "Hyun Jusian." She winked and pushed up her glasses. "Yes, that's right. I'm Hyun Jusian." Al couldn't believe her eyes. Hyun Jusian, the 4th S-rank hero of Korea, even if I heard she was our boss's granddaughter. But why is she here? As she approached the seat, she explained that her uncle said he had a headache because someone forced everyone to buy magical stones. Her face became serious, matching the expected posture of an S-rank hero. "Can you explain the situation in detail?" Do-jun sat quietly while Hyung sat on the roof. He meditated under the midday sun, beads of sweat forming on his body. He began to worry. Even after hunting all day, I only earned 100 million. At this rate, I won't make it in time. I need to be able to pass through S-rank gates as soon as possible. This means the most important thing now is restoring my previous strength. But unlike the past world, the air here has very little energy. Even if I keep collecting it daily, it would take 3 years, maybe even longer. Having a few decent equipment is good too. Suddenly, Do-jun felt danger approaching. He looked towards Union. Do-jun quickly grew in size and said, "We need to go inside." Both of them immediately ran into the house and closed the door tightly. Jo-jun's mother anxiously asked him, "What happened, Jo-jun?" The ground shook violently. The whole house seemed like it was about to collapse as Jun's mother screamed, "Oh no! An earthquake! Is that an earthquake?" Hyung fearfully hugged his arm and shouted loudly. Unlike her, Jo-jun remained calm and considered the situation. "No, not an earthquake. This is a spatial watermark appearing, slowly rising up. It quickly grew on the roof of their house. Everyone didn't know what was happening, only Jo-jun knew what that earthquake was. A drop of water. She worried and shouted out loud, "Jo-jun, what's going on?" Without hesitation, he stepped into the drop of water. They call him too, Jo-jun, Appa at the Seoul Hero Association building. An alert signal sounded. Employees hurriedly reported to the captain. A new crack was discovered in Marple. He's 6'3". Then he waved his hand and ordered, "Marple, the White Lion Guild is closest. Contact them immediately. Send any hero nearby right away." The captain asked the employee where exactly the crack was found. He replied, "In the courtyard of a residential building." After reviewing the coordinates, the captain's face darkened. A residential building was indeed troublesome. If an ordinary civilian, not a hero, entered a new water crack, No one else could enter until they exited. He worriedly thought that if they were inside, a monster wave would erupt from the area of the water crack in 10 days. If this happened, the entire Seoul area would be destroyed. The captain curiously asked, "Have we determined who entered yet?" They quickly confirmed that his name was Do-jun. He lived in the house where the crack appeared. She said he had entered the water to save his sister. The captain asked again, "So, he's not a hero then? What are the odds of a monster wave occurring when an ordinary civilian enters a new water crack?" With this information, they concluded there was a 99.9% chance. This made the situation even more tense. The room fell into an eerie silence. One of the documents was forcefully slammed on the table. Hizu was extremely agitated, pacing near the window. "Wake up! He's telling me Do-jun has awakened?" Manager Lee was sweating profusely in fear. He hadn't registered with the Hero Association yet, but it was confirmed that he had awakened during the previous incident at the gate. Haiju couldn't believe her ears and shouted, "What did Kang Chil-yu do?" She pounded the table harder in anger. He should have killed that scumbag himself. Why make everything so complicated and then pay for it? She roared with a threat. Manager Lee clearly told this to the scumbag Kang Chil-yu. If he doesn't kill Do-jun, he'll owe me 10 times what he was paid. But what Manager Lee was about to say surprised Hong Hee-ju. Maybe they wouldn't need to contact Kang Chil-yu after all. She asked in surprise, "What do you mean?" He explained, "A new water crack appeared in Mapo. It's at Jo-jun's house. We confirmed he entered the water crack. The media will soon report this." Hizu was extremely pleased to know Do-jun would be gone for good. "So I guess we won't have to see that poor guy anymore." Manager Lee agreed exactly. Hizu calmed down and thought deeply. Finally, she sighed and ordered, "Monitor it until we're completely sure." He replied quickly, "Got it." Jun just stepped into the forest. The sky inside the water crack was clear blue. He walked deeper into the forest step by step. Do-jun muttered to himself as he walked, "It's unbelievable." Do-jun recalled his past self. "This is Patasoa Forest, a place I often visited when young. This forest, from the trees and grass growing here, to the wind, the rich energy in the air, even the shape of the clouds in the sky are all identical." Do-jun followed his memory as he mumbled to himself, "If I take this path." He gently smiled and nodded his head. "I knew it." In front of him was a giant world tree with light radiating from its trunk. Line 60 is intentionally left blank. It's the source of endless life force, and around this tree, there's no lack of vitality. As Do-jun approached the tree, the collapse of the old world began when this tree was burned out, disrupting the flow of energy. But now, the world tree is still standing firm. I don't know how it did that. Do-jun didn't know why, but secretly rejoiced, yet I can feel the energy from that time again. Immediately after, Do-jun sat in meditation under the Monado River. Do-jun felt the power growing stronger with each breath. He sat and took deep breaths slowly. Do-jun practiced for a long time. Days passed by. I even forgot to eat or drink, focusing solely on my breathing for 10 consecutive days. All he did was try to synchronize his breath with nature. Suddenly, Georgian's eyes snapped open as if sensing something. Countless bizarre monsters stood before him. Volcano. They slowly approached the world tree. Those who had burned the world tree in the past. The monsters fiercely attacked Do-jun. Georgian looked at them with cold eyes. The beasts growled and advanced closer. But now, Georgian was restored. He fought back with Monner and blocked their attacks effortlessly. "It's fine. I'll crush all of them." Do-jun stretched his hand towards the monsters. A green energy flow enveloped his hand. With that power, he easily felled one monster with a single touch. It screamed in pain. Do-jun's eyes now glowed brightly. The other beasts hesitated and didn't dare to approach him. Both sides engaged in a fierce struggle for a long time. In Do-jun's mind, an analysis diagram appeared, releasing the energy he had gathered as gas and igniting it. He whispered to himself, "I haven't used so much energy like this in a long time." The remaining two monsters gathered energy from their mouths. They launched laser beams at him simultaneously. Dujun stood calmly, looking at the approaching lasers, but they were completely blocked and couldn't touch him. Dujun slowly advanced towards the monsters. I've confirmed that the world tree is safe. He looked at them with a cold smile and should check my energy levels myself now. Dujun prepared to perform, his hands gathering energy for another laser attack. He quickly grabbed the mouths of two monsters. The energy they were about to release was forced back into their bodies. In the end, they exploded, turning into blackened remains that disintegrated into dust. Two red crystals fell from their bodies. Not enough, he coldly walked towards the rest. Done. Dujun laughed to himself. If I finish dealing with you all, can I also get eternal charcoal? He attacked them fiercely, vaguely remembering that many of you might actually create something. He continued defeating each monster one by one until the night fell. Dujun stood on the tree, surveying his work. This time, he thoroughly removed the core from between the crystals. One by one, they were defeated until darkness covered the area. Dujun looked at the results of his efforts. This time, Dujun carefully extracted the cores from the crystals. He picked up a glowing golden coin. Dujun whispered, "Eternal Charcoal Type 2. He crushed it in his hand and thought, I didn't expect to get this too. Dujun turned the charcoal into flames on his palm and played with the fire. He looked at the powerful energy emanating from his hands. It would be great to get more energy from the world tree, but with his current body, he couldn't absorb any more energy from it. The only feasible method now was for Dujun to boldly decide to put the fire into his body, absorbing this charcoal and turning his energy into fire energy. In an instant, powerful energy radiated from him. Dujun exhaled a flame. Back then, I didn't even bother with that stuff. He was speechless at how he had instantly grabbed the charcoal without blinking. Then Dujun waved his arm. Next, he goes to where a bunch of ghostly stones and ashes fall. He thinks about absorbing as much glowing ash as possible. A group gathers around the space ripple area. The police are present, reporters are taking photos. Someone grits their teeth and curses. Damn it! You, the motorcycle gang leader, looks up uncomfortably. What's going on? Just because of a madman. Kim Hyun-yu steps forward to explain. He tried to save his sister. You, the taxi owner, doesn't believe it. That was just what he said. He heard rumors that awakening in the space ripple area is very easy, so he didn't think of anyone else. He just rushed in. If he's crazy, let him go alone. What's going on? Hyun-yu turns to ask suddenly. What did Yumis say? The taxi owner recounts. As instructed, he only said to wait for the wave. Everyone feels confused about it. But why? However, Hyun-yu quickly gives a reasonable explanation. Maybe Yuma was busy with that too. This is the first time such an incident has happened, but they managed to control it swiftly. He just smiles as the taxi owner's anger still smolders. But we're the ones in trouble. All because of that useless guy. He raises his fist high. The one who went first. Go outside. I'll beat you up and make you bruised. The space ripple continues to spread. The host narrates the events at the scene. It's been 28 days since the space ripple appeared. The Hero Association announced a level 1 monster wave. On the news, they show blurred images of Jojin in civilian case. He was the one who went first. Not coming out for 2 days. Someone firmly turns off the DVD player. Trang Soup, having just smoked a cigarette, asks, "Is that Jojin?" Kim In-gu, his right-hand man, respectfully answers, "Yes, boss. I confirmed with my subordinates it's Jojin." Trang Soup starts asking challenging questions. According to him, what are the chances of that scoundrel surviving and returning? In-gu immediately waves his hands. If he were a civilian, there's no need to talk about 1%, not even 0.1%. Hearing this, Trang Soup smiles faintly, a ridiculous civilian. His subordinates who are injured and bandaged up only bow their heads in ridicule. The Hero Association before that didn't have enough information and were completely wrong. Changsop proposes a hypothesis. What if he's an awakened person? In-gu continues to cater to this strange superior. If he is an awakened one, it depends on his hero level. Honestly, it's hard to make a judgment. Changsop leans back in his chair. Fighting and surviving in the space ripple are two different things. Suddenly, Yang asks an unrelated question. Does Jun still have to close people? He's surprised by this. What do you plan to do with them? Dujun's family only has his sister and his mother left. Fortunately, he hasn't made any plans to harm them yet. For now, just keep them safe. However, the guild always plays the villain. If he targets us, he'll sell their organs. When he returns, we'll say we've taken care of them and make him owe us a favor. In the water world within the tree, there's an incredibly abundant source of energy. His body trembles as mana flows, almost bursting with power. You look at your hand, wondering how long it's been. Eternal lashes. I've absorbed hundreds of them. Now I can use fire mana anytime I want. My resistance to fire has significantly increased. If we only consider the fire attribute, this is a state beyond what I was called the sword god. He gently touched the rough trunk with his hand. Jun whispered to himself, in the past and even now. The tree seemed to shimmer from his words, thanking the world tree. Then he bent down to pick up each crystal into a mesh bag. Jun put on the bag over his shoulder, bidding farewell to the tree. We might never meet again, me. He made an appointment for our next meeting. But if we meet again and me is in danger, Jun resolved he would protect her at all costs. Night fell, a full moon hanging high in the sky. Doa Jun slowly emerged from the puddle, then gently landed on the ground. He carefully felt around his surroundings. There were no signs within a 1-kilometer radius. Jun still detected a small anomaly, a stronger presence in this direction. He immediately dashed forward. In front of him were Yu's and Hin-Yu's car-parked guards. Jun cautiously hid behind them. He frowned, guessing based on their attire that they must be from the same group as those from the previous gate. If caught, it would be troublesome. Jun gathered a flame in his palm, threw it forcefully in one direction, and it landed on the roof of a building. Everything returned to darkness. Only a faint glimmering light appeared. Suddenly, the fire exploded with a loud boom. Hien Wu was surprised by this situation. What is that? What sound is that? You will quickly look towards where the noise came from. It's fire. They quickly approached the scene. By now, several people were standing in shock before the growing flames. Amidst the chaos, Yu couldn't help but doubt. What is this? What's happening here? Why is there a fire here? Jun was evaluating the situation from a hidden corner. The nature and accuracy of the flames were excellent. He talked to himself. Damn it, doesn't that flame impress you too? You must be very satisfied. After all, you are the strongest fire mage on the continent. Hyun Woo, standing before the fire, suddenly noticed something. He turned around to observe. Wait a moment! Hyun Woo observed the watermark in the sky. That watermark is strange. Seong Woo was startled by this too. The watermark was gradually disappearing. Both of them tried to run back. They realized it was too late. What's happening here? Watermark! Seong-woo couldn't believe his eyes. Watermark! He looked at the scene in shock, the watermark vanishing. Over there, Jun silently left. He turned back with a determined look. A modern city appeared before him. News announcements spread throughout the city. Breaking news, the watermark that appeared in Mappo has vanished this morning. The announcer on the large screen of a building announced, exactly 29 days after Zio entered the watermark area. The Hero Association, who predicted a wave of monsters, was surprised by its sudden disappearance and were conducting thorough investigations into the cause. People bustling below the street looked up to listen carefully from the big radio station. Meanwhile, an unexplained fire broke out near the watermark at a local scrapyard. Those listening to the news discussed excitedly. That guy, Zio, must have known after entering the usual situation to avoid the watermark when they appeared. Jun silently slipped past with his hood and jacket on. Their words made him pay attention. After all, one person has died. Do I need to say that? Don't be naive. If the watermark doesn't close, Seoul would have become a battlefield. He tightly pressed his lips in tension. Doo-jun gave orders like divine commands. You have my permission. Go do it. Ian-gu met person 90, who was extremely anxious and revealed something. But our boss has many connections. If I suddenly became the boss, everyone would think something is wrong. He raised his head, sweating profusely with fear. Instead, please just spare him this one time. Doo-jun's face hardened in dissatisfaction and scolded. Why are you so stupid? Just toss him into a dumpster or crush him at the junkyard. Isn't that what those guys excel at? His next words directly made everyone tremble with fear. If you really don't want to work, I could throw you through the gate as food for monsters. Changsop struggled to kneel and pleaded desperately. Please just spare my life. Just spare my life. I'll work like a dog for the rest of my life. Doo-jun glanced at him, but he persisted in begging for forgiveness. I swear to you, I beg you. Doo-jun helplessly thought that getting rid of Changsop here would solve everything neatly. He sighed with frustration. Did I soften up? Then he reached out his hand in front of him. All right. Changsop clung to this straw for survival. Hope shone in his eyes. He trembled and stretched out his hand, grasping Doo-jun's with remorse. I've been wrong all along. From now on, I'll serve you faithfully. He looked at him in surprise, confused. The fire on Changsop's hand gradually spread, becoming fiercer. In pain, he screamed hoarsely. Doo-jun coldly stood up and left, leaving Changsop behind, who was crying on the ground. He glanced back, his eyes sharp like a knife, warning, if even one scratch appears on any of my loved ones, you'll all die. From now on, you'll guard them 24/7 for the rest of your lives. His burnt arm lay lifeless on the ground, black and charred. Doo-jun coldly stood up and left, leaving Changsop behind, who was crying in agony. He glanced back, his eyes sharp like a knife, warning, if even one scratch appears on any of my loved ones, you'll all die. You'll have to guard them 24/7 for the rest of your lives. Officially, Jejun had vanished along with the watermark at a WCDN store. Inside was Yoon Young sitting and eating a hamburger with Jejun, government officials, Hero Association, and various media outlets. He treated Jejun as if he were dead. His hand swiped through his phone for news. The face reflected on the screen looked helpless. Even telling them I'm alive would only bring trouble. Doo-jun gently smiled at her, watching her eat happily. Changsop will help me find a new home soon. So let's move slowly. You look so happy eating. She laughed brightly and joyfully. Great, now we're moving house. He sat across from her and revealed, you can go to kindergarten like the others. Next year, you'll also start school. But Yoon-young looked gloomy, leaving dejectedly. Doo-jun was startled and confused. Why? Don't want to go to kindergarten anymore? She sadly replied, yes. The others are teasing me because I don't have parents. He stood there stunned for a few seconds. Doo-jun bowed his head in sorrow, silent and unmoving. Doo-jun comforted Eun-yi. It's okay. You don't need to go. You don't have to meet those awful people next year. Just wait until then to go to school. The little girl looked at him happily. Really? I don't have to go to kindergarten? Doo-jun softly replied, that's right. No need to go. Meanwhile, he was deep in thought, wondering if he should send the child to a prestigious private school so that nobody would dare look down on her. On the other side, Eun-yi was enjoying his meal happily. Doo-jun recalled the night before when he encountered Ian-gu at an inn and angrily scolded him. He caught an old woman and a child in one of the rooms, right? Doo-jun couldn't hold back and shouted loudly, are you stupid? He struggled to find a reasonable explanation. This inn is managed by our company, so it's safe. Doo-jun interrupted Ian-gu. Forget about it. In the room, Eun-yi saw Doo-jun and happily shouted out, Appa, here I am. The little girl ran to him and hugged his arms tightly. Oh, Daddy, seeing Doo-jun, Eun-yi's grandma felt relieved and held his hand. Doo-jun, you're really safe now. Doo-jun, holding Eun-yi in his arms, couldn't help crying. Oh, Daddy, Doo-jun was momentarily surprised by someone still caring about him. He smiled gently. Yes, I'm back. Back to reality. The little girl tilted her head and asked, Is Oppa an hero too? Do-jun leaned forward and teased. Why do you think I'm a hero? She frowned. No, I wish you weren't a hero. Do-jun was confused. Why? Ani explained. Because heroes fight with terrifying monsters and sometimes they die. A different, more beautiful vision of life with just 3 people appeared in her mind. I only hope that Oppa will live with me and Grandma for a long time. These sincere words surprised Jejun into silence. Do-jun lowered his head, feeling he had disappointed the little girl's expectations. Anyang noticed his silent mood and called out to him. Jejun repeated her words in his mind. I only hope that Oppa will live with me and Grandma for a long time. But reality is too painful. In the harsh world of the past, I was the last survivor. I had to constantly fight just to exist. I spent a lot of time fighting monsters, losing many things. But Do-jun found a place to return to, where he could protect and love himself before realizing something precious appeared beside him, even though he had forgotten about it for a long time. He lived a normal life with a happy family. Here, I thought I could live happily and protect this happiness. But it seems everything won't last long. In the days that followed, the city returned to its usual bustling life. At a skyscraper, this is the Korean Heroes Association. A well-dressed man stood on a high floor of the building, coldly observing below. Did you really not find anything? Na Tae-hong, founder of the Korean Heroes Association and president of the World Heroes Federation. The secretary worriedly bowed his head. No, we have no information about the current situation. I'm sorry, Na Tae-hong coldly said. It's truly disappointing. That means the water stains that disappear on their own could reappear at any time. The secretary fretted. Correct. When the variable appears. Very dangerous. If only a wave of monsters had already occurred. He cut her off. Be careful with your words. She turned to look at him sharply, keeping an eye on him. Considering the safety of the people, this is a lucky outcome. The secretary hurriedly corrected it. Ah, I'm sorry, I let my guard down. Introducing Na Tae-hong, one of the top 100 most feared heroes in the world. He is a man standing at the leadership position. They say he would be elected president with the highest number of votes in history if he ran for office, and he could easily overthrow major domestic corporations if he wanted to. But his interest lies not in the presidency or big corporations, but in the safety of the people and preparing for these water stains. His anger gradually subsided as he calmly resumed work, even taking time to thoroughly investigate. The secretary regained her composure, nodding understood, and the residents in the affected area agreed to sell their homes. Tae-hong nodded. I understand now. Good. He thought about the houses that had been built but had to be abandoned for safety reasons, offering a higher market price. To prevent them from feeling disappointed, it would be nice if it could bring some comfort to those who lost their families. After everything was settled, Tae-hong returned to his work. He typed on the computer. Suddenly, a piece of information caught T's attention. Hong, the screen displayed a map with red warning areas. It was said that these water stains also occurred simultaneously in other countries. Something is wrong. The secretary questioned. Didn't the US and China enter a phase of control? He suggested another name. The problem is England. Tae-hong's voice showed clear worry. Reliable heroes were sent to other water stains. A notification appeared on the status bar. His eyes widened in shock and alarm. Impossible. The secretary looked at Tae-hong. Is something wrong, sir? An urgent announcement was made. There is a wave of monsters occurring at the water stain in England. His worst fear finally came true. The water stain in England. At the intersection, everyone was busy with their own work. Jo-jun, dressed in a concealing manner, wearing a hat that covered his head, walked forward with a serious but calm expression. A shop opened along the way, its signboard attracting his attention. The door of the gemstone trading store was open. It wasn't very friendly but spoke up. Hello! Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be Jun. He let out a loud scream. Jun stammered. Manager, that scoundrel is this one. You heard me. Looking at the person reading the newspaper calmly beside him, he forcefully folded the newspaper in his hand as a show of authority. Is it him? The manager stood up and asked Near. Are you that guy? When I wasn't around, someone forced them to sell magical stones. Jun casually placed his backpack on the ground. Perfect. Today, I have a lot of magical stones to sell, so I hope there's someone with enough authority to handle it immediately. After saying that, Jun threw the backpack hard onto the ground. The manager looked down at the backpack rolling on the floor with disdain. He probably brought another batch of low-grade magical stones that haven't been processed yet, just like last time. Thinking this, he hesitated. We don't do business with you. Please leave. You calmly reminded him. You're not doing business? The manager turned away, showing no interest. It seems like you don't know, but the 1% commission is causing significant losses. We won't be trading with you anymore. Take your stuff and leave. Jun laughed. You'll regret it. The manager still had no intention of doing business. You're not listening, so why should I? Even the Gate Center charges a 5% commission for reasons. The distribution structure is magical. No, we don't need such explanations. He turned his head to glare at him, grabbed his bag, and left without looking back. Jun didn't continue explaining but walked over and kicked the backpack. Instantly, the red magical stones scattered all over the floor. The employees widened their eyes in surprise upon seeing them. Even the manager couldn't hide his shock. He stared at the sparkling red magical stones on the ground, unable to believe what he was seeing. Can it be that these are hero-level magical stones? Why would there be such valuable hero-level magical stones worth more than anything else here? Jun stood aside with his arms crossed, laughing. If you don't need them, forget about it. You should know this is an extremely rare type of stone, a hero-level magical stone. In some old lab somewhere, Cosmin, a notorious drug dealer from Mexico, had broken down the magical stones to produce drugs. The solution exploded immediately, not a pleasant situation at all. But in that moment, a glorious moment occurred, and the power of the magical stone burst forth, awakening him into a hero. Since then, these magical stones have become famous as essential items to awaken heroes or enhance magic. These are called hero-level magical stones, both hard to obtain and extremely expensive. The manager and employees stared in amazement at the super rare items scattered on the ground, while Jun paid them no mind with a cold look. Pack it up, I'm leaving. The manager hurriedly ran over, gently rubbing his hands. My dear customer, please sit and wait for a moment. Soon after, all the magical stones were neatly packed and carefully cleaned. Jun sat quietly, happily drinking the tea just brought to him. On the other side, the manager softly negotiated with him. Goodbye. Don't you think 0.5% commission is a bit too much? Jun's face darkened. If you don't like it, forget about it. The manager quickly corrected himself. It's not that I don't like it, I'm just curious. Despite saying this, sweat was pouring down his forehead. Why do you want to change it to 0.5%? He calmly reminded him. Because you're too noisy. Hearing that, the manager bowed vigorously. I'm truly sorry. I was careless. Jun coldly glanced at him. I'm tired of hearing apologies. Just tell me if you accept this commission rate. On the other side, seeing his manager bow like that, he couldn't help but smirk. Oh my, what a troublesome and rude person. He really has no manners at all. The last one had to do ideological work. Alright then. The manager went on at length about how rare and valuable this magical stone was in the market. Jun cut him off with a rebuttal. That's too long. He couldn't take it anymore and stood up, turning away. If you don't like it, forget it. The manager tried to hold on by pulling at his sleeve. We're actually losing 9%. Jun responded reluctantly. Then don't lose money. He stood up, saying 8%. If the boss knew this, he'd beat me to a pulp. Don't act indifferent and do things that will get you beaten. The manager continued lowering his demands to 7%. I can't give any more. Jun sighed. No one asked you to give in. He pleaded again for 6%. There's no profit left now. Jun frowned. How can a merchant survive without profits? This endless conversation was really wearing down Eo's resolve. In the end, the manager finally gave up. Seeing his plight, Jun offered another number. Considering their past relationship, I'll accept 1%. Inside, the manager cursed him under his breath, calling him a robber on the fishing line. But outwardly, he gritted his teeth and endured it. Seeing him hesitate, Jun smiled slightly. I'll tell you first. The next sentence made both the manager and Eo's eyes widen in fear. I still have about 7 more bags like this. He quickly ordered. Don't do anything, just keep your hands off. Bring the contract here fast. Eo ran to fetch it immediately. Clunk clunk. Jun looked at his bank account balance of 6.7 billion won. He pondered for a moment. At this rate, a house worth 110 billion won wouldn't be too far out of reach anymore. Jun frowned. The problem is that to get high-grade magical stones, the gate isn't enough. He secretly thought about the water stains earlier. If only he could freely move through the water areas. Suddenly, a warning sound from Do-jun's phone startled him and made him turn around. He looked at Do-jun with cold sweat, asking what was that wave of monsters. Calmly glancing at the administrative alert about the new monster wave sent to his phone by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's you. I thought so. His eyes flickered slightly. When he looked up, Do-jun's eyes lit up. Pretending not to care, he turned and left. Walking down the street, Do-jun was deep in thought. No matter which country or association participated before, I would always go to the water stains area. But now, that won't be necessary anymore. In a barbecue restaurant, the meat sizzled on the grill. The old man impatiently watched the meat cook. He brought his 2 close ones here for a fancy dinner. His mother frowned at the menu. Do-jun, 250,000 won per 100 grams is a bit expensive, isn't it? He calmly took a sip of water. This time I made a lot of money. Don't worry, just eat your fill. The old man wasn't too concerned. The girl was still savoring the meat. When a forkful went into her mouth, her taste buds exploded in joy. The old man's cheeks puffed out with satisfaction. Though he didn't say it was delicious, anyone could tell from his expression. She was still somewhat worried and didn't dare to touch the meat, but Do-jun ate straight on. He asked the waiter, "We'll order for portions each. Fresh ribs, premium beef brisket, cow's tail, bird's nest soup." She hesitated. Is that too much for us? How can we finish all of that? Do-jun laughed easily. Today, just eat your fill. Grandma, please eat too. Grandma often sighs deeply. Oh my! Nurse, if you see this, bring a piece of meat to Grandma's mouth. The little girl happily invites. Grandma, this meat is so delicious. You should try it too, Grandma. Only then does Grandma finally open her mouth. Our nurse is really such a good boy. As soon as the piece of meat enters her mouth, Aryu regrets it, but she still finds it surprisingly tasty. After that, all 3 enjoyed their warm meal happily. Just then, Ruzian gracefully entered the shop. She has long purple hair that catches everyone's attention due to her beauty. Ruzian suddenly speaks, making him turn around. Jo-jin, she approaches and looks down at him with a low head. Can we talk for a moment? Ruzian's eyes are full of earnestness. So, you're the hero. Jo-jin abruptly cuts in. Don't you see I'm eating with my family? He throws him a cold glance, glaring at Jusian. If you have something to say, come back after I finish eating. These cold words make her feel uneasy. Jusian looks furious in return. I'm Hyan Jusian. You know that. But she still stays silent and steps back to wait. Alright. But inside, she curses Jun. Who dares to ignore me like this? After a long wait, something happened. Jusian silently sits on the chair waiting, while everyone in the shop can't help but wonder. The boys look at her blushing, and the girls admire Hyan Jusian with envy. All these whispers reach her ears. Is that Hyan Jusian? The S-rank hero of the world. Hyan Jusian? Yes, she's completely deserving to be on the top 10 most beautiful heroes in the world list. But everyone wonders, who is she waiting for? Why does Hyan Jusian have to wait? Who's so scary? The more she hears, the angrier she gets. Seo Jun, 2 months ago was his first time entering the gate and he survived. Even though Zeon silently watched him from afar, people suspect that he awakened on that night, supposedly dead in the recent Ghost Well incident. Despite Jun being engrossed in eating, he's still alive and eating right here. She remembers his sharp words before. Just one look or word from him made her tense up. But a newly awakened S-rank hero after 2 months of the day, even Kaufmo, the oil tycoon who took 5 years to reach S-rank after awakening, must have some special ability. This thought makes Jusian shiver. He can never be an S-rank. He definitely has some special ability. Suddenly she stands up abruptly, making the chair move with a loud noise. Jusian again falls silent next to Giorgione, but before she could reach him, a man blocks her path in front of his family. Giorgione coldly raises an eyebrow at him. Giorgione mockingly teases him with a sneer. "What's this, Giorgione? So I wasn't imagining it. How did you get out of that gate?" He looks at the man silently. "King Qianwu." The man approaches to threaten them. "I know you're a chicken, but I didn't think you were a real one." Ju Jaeon was startled by this unexpected appearance. In front of everyone. How is King Qianwu now? While he was trying to find words to humiliate Jian, she calmly approached. But Qianwu didn't know anything and continued his military-like actions. He didn't answer him but sidestepped to ask Jusian instead. "Hey, you said you need to see me for something, right?" Now Qianwu noticed her. "Haha and Jusian, huh? What's going on?" Du Jun suggested. "I'll listen to what you have to say. Just take care of my family for a moment." She was surprised. "Exactly what do you need?" He glanced at the 2 people behind him. "Just call a taxi and send them home." Jusian suddenly felt scared as she looked at Du Jun now. His face turned serious, his expression grim. "I have some debts to collect." On the other side, Qianwu also showed a fierce expression, ready to charge in. In the middle of the night under a clear full moon, Jusian approached and opened the car door for Yoon-young. She spoke soothingly. "Don't worry too much. Just get in." Looking at the little girl outside through the glass, she waved goodbye. "Say hello to this cute little one again." The car started, but she still kept that smile on her face. Then gradually, the car's shadow became fainter on the quiet road as the scene shifted to Du Jun. He was leaning back, waving his hand with an evil grin. Qianwu's eyes widened, a streak of Du Jun's hand clearly visible on his cheek. The man went crazy, turning his face towards him, gritting his teeth as if wanting to devour and swallow alive. This damned little bastard. Qianwu's men exuded an overwhelming aura. The waiter warned them, "If you do that here, guests." The waiter's words fell on deaf ears as he pushed her hard while cursing, "Get out," causing him to stumble and wince in pain. He ran straight towards Du Jun, creating fear among everyone at the restaurant. "Get out now!" Qianwu's expression of indifference made him even angrier as he roared. "You want to die? You really want to die, you bastard?" Just as he finished speaking, a hand came to his face. Du Jun gave Qianwu a powerful kick that sent him falling down. Qianwu's anger grew increasingly intense. His eyes turned red and glared back at him, but he soon had to kneel, holding his face as the pain racked him. At this moment, Du Jun called out Gata, Kang Qianwu's name with increasing frustration. He began interrogating. "Did you bring me here and lock me up to die?" Gata knelt down, his face full of blood, unable to speak as he sobbed. Lines of bitterness appeared on Du Jun's face as he looked at Qianwu and continued speaking. "We have a lot to talk about, right?" His face contorted with malice in response. "What do you want to say to someone who was abandoned by his own father? Your stepmother told you to go ahead." He suddenly raised his phone and pressed the recording button. Du Jun looked at him with a disdainful expression and challenged. "Say it again." Qianwu's face turned red as steam came out of his mouth through his teeth. Gata prepared to strike with a blazing fist. Qianwu asked back, "What did you say?" Immediately, Gata advanced towards him in an extremely dangerous stance and roared, "Your mother's teeth are for biting." Gata's voice echoed, "Jojin, move away from here." Suddenly, his eyes emit a very mysterious light. Then Jojin seems to be recharged with power. He calmly observes Gaeta's attack and blocks it with one hand. Just by blocking that punch, Qian Wu was sent flying into the sky, his face frozen in shock. After a few seconds, Qian Wu realizes he's hit, his fist flying out. Jun quietly launches another move. This time, power gradually gathers in his hand. Then it shoots straight into the guy's stomach, sending him crashing into the wall behind. Before Qian Wu can get back up, he continues advancing with a murderous look in his eyes. Each punch creates a gust of wind. The server at the reception desk cries out in despair. Police? How many police are there? 11. Just as she's speaking, a hand snatches her phone. Jusian gently takes the phone and speaks calmly. Please be assured, I'll handle this situation. The appearance of Jusian is like a savior arriving, making the server extremely grateful. Hyunji Jensi. Yes, thank you. Returning to Jojin, he continuously punches Jian Yu's face, causing his blood to gush out. She approaches the fight and thinks Kang Qian Wu, a B-rank hero, was easily overwhelmed like this. Ji Yoon Seon starts moving faster, her mind racing with thoughts about Jojun. At B rank or above, can someone from a rank or higher really be so easily dominated to that extent? As Giorgione is on the offensive, he suddenly calls out, halting his attack. She seriously warns him, otherwise, he'll end up dead. Giorgione's brows furrow with clear anger. Then he firmly steps down, leaving Giorgione lying there before walking away. Giorgione looks up at him curiously, wondering how much this person knows about him. Jun turns back and answers, I think I know quite a bit. Why? Is that important? She takes a deep breath and confirms. Is it really important? She recalls the image of Yeonpyo, who was very muscular and exudes an extremely dangerous aura. Kang Qianwu's uncle, Kang Yeonpyo, was an S-rank hero. He looks at her coldly as he answers, I know! Is there a problem? Jusian looks at his expressionless face in disbelief. He already knows. Yet, he still maintains that indifferent attitude. Really reckless. This man! Suddenly, Qian Wu's disheveled face appears as Jusian evaluates him. That King Qian Wu, who has been acting recklessly until now, is able to do so because Kang Yeonpyo protected him. Therefore, Jo Jun's actions just now are really dangerous. Hearing her, he smiles slightly and says, I know about the feud between us, but I thought Kang Yeonpyo would understand that. Zhu Jian feels uneasy and asks, Kang Yeonpyo, are you afraid of him? Jun approaches her and warns, the fact that you know so much about me is starting to bother me. After saying this, he looks at Jusian with a sharp gaze. She smiles back at him. The server behind the cash counter cries in resentment. I said I'd help handle it. After a while, Jusian speaks first. Sorry for the sudden visit. It's about my uncle asking me to do something. She gets straight to the point. Did you go to Sandstoneman and buy stones as instructed? Sell them to me. Jun reminds her of Jusian's question about the quantity. How many? She replied straightforwardly that she would buy all of Jojin's stash. Jojin smiled confidently and said there was quite a lot. Even Xion wasn't far behind. She put on an evil grin and boldly stated that S-rank hero assets were more than he imagined. Suddenly, Jun looked at my Qian with a pitiful expression and made the request. Nothing is unsellable. But I have conditions, Zhu Jian exclaimed in surprise. Conditions? Jun laughed heavily and confirmed that there was nothing major, just something Hai and Zhu Jian could handle easily. The scene switched to Haiju, who suddenly threw a bottle of wine on the floor, shattering it into pieces. Holding another bottle of wine, Haiju angrily added some surprise, saying it's full now and it's already in water. As soon as she finished, Haiju threw the bottle she was holding at the statue with the manager's consent. The manager sadly explained quickly, sorry, clearly even the Hero Association believes he's dead. Haiju still didn't believe it and grew angrier. Don't try to justify this. What will you do about it? Suddenly she remembered something. Plus there's something I need to report. The manager announced, Kang Chaewon Wu has been avenged by Jo Jun. Tang was stunned for a moment and asked again, Kang Chaewon Wu, what did that bastard do? Tang wondered if Jo Jun knew something. Hearing this, Hiju fell into a silent abyss. An uneasy feeling overwhelmed her. She swallowed hard. Haidu looked up to the sky with heavy worries. It could be troublesome if my father-in-law or husband heard about this. But we can find a way to handle it so it's fine. But if it gets publicized in the media, our company's stock price might drop. We must stop it at all costs. She pointed directly at the manager, sternly ordering, block the media immediately, both news reports and of course the T Group too. The weak group will also cut off advertisements and no longer cooperate. The police, keep them silent for now. Immediately, he anxiously reported that the police and media were silenced. Then she sighed heavily, leaning back into her office chair. Good job, manager. He hesitantly leaned into Haidu, asking again, but you know it's not a permanent solution, right? That's why I wanted to tell you. Whispering into her ear, he revealed the truth. Kang Qianwu's cousin is Kang Yongpyo. Hiju's eyes widened in surprise. She asked cautiously, I know Kang Yongpyo. Hiju recalled the days of reckless fun with Qianwu and silently assessed him. Kang Qianwu is notorious even among heroes. People thought Kang Yongpyo loved Qianwu very much. But in reality, Qianwu was just a pawn for Yongpyo to do dirty work. Manager Lee added that if Qianwu was manipulated by the police and media, it wouldn't be good for Yongpyo either, so it seems they were involved too. Hiju sat down, seriously planning. First we need to meet. Set up a meeting as soon as possible. He immediately obeyed. Yes, I understand. When she glared with cold eyes and asked, has the CEO of HCS Capital betrayed us? He replied, yes, he's taking care of Jo Jun's family. After confirming her suspicions, she sternly ordered Manager Lee to contact Prosecutor Park and declared that anyone who leaves me for the other side will pay a price. The scene then switched to the hero teams observing recent water stains in Korea. There are 37 areas with water stains currently existing. Among them, 5 areas have successfully transformed. The rest can only be adjusted by heroes affiliated with the Hero Association. Suddenly a voice echoed, Hien Jujian has confirmed her identity and wishes her safe travels. After confirming this, they returned her identification. The Jujian team began to enter the water stain area. An eerie silence filled the air. Jun stood behind, watching indifferently as he thought there was only one entrance. Even knowing it was Hien Jujian, he still carefully checked her identity and controlled access tightly. Suddenly, Jinju, a hero from the Korean Hero Association and head of the Silk Flower Society, approached her cheerfully. Xian, you were the one who suggested going to the water stain area first. Isn't that strange? Despite avoiding his gaze, Xian reluctantly replied it was just idle time with nothing else to do. Then she looked down at him through the crowd. Jun put on a blank expression and slowly followed the group. Xian recalled what he said when they were in the restaurant the other day. There's only one condition. If you let me into the water stain area, I'll sell all my magic stones to you at market price. Reason, more money can be earned by hunting in the water stains. She frowned. Why would he come to such a dangerous area just for that reason? This guy is not normal. Even though Xian looked out at the natural scenery outside the cave, his thoughts didn't lighten up. I need hero magic stones, even if it's not a request from him. They all walked out into a wild forest together. Jinju approached her excitedly. Honestly, who is that man? Xian hesitated. Just an acquaintance. Jun walked coldly in the summer breeze as Jinju's voice echoed. Just an acquaintance. Make me believe that. Is he a potential boyfriend? Jun Jian shook his head doubtfully and denied it. It's not like that. It's just that I owe him a favor, so I brought him here to repay it. Jinju heard this and immediately asked back in confusion. A favor? The S-grade hero Hien Junjian owes a favor too? She looked down at her teammates as she answered. There is such a thing. Suddenly, an unusual wind blew through the area and everyone sensed something was about to happen. With Jun on high alert, everyone got ready for battle. A strange creature with bird-like wings approached, screaming at a deafening pitch and speed. Jinju recognized it as a giant shrimp, so Jujin immediately took command of the team. Jinju and Doyen held their defensive stance while Seungho targeted its legs. Before everyone could move to their positions, Jun had already surpassed the team. Fai used his immense strength directly at the giant shrimp. Everyone was amazed, even Jo-jun himself. Meanwhile, he muttered something under his breath. First one. Jo-jun took a running start and shot off like lightning. He flew straight into battle without any hesitation. Jo-jun's eyes flashed with a bright light. His lifeless face was building up power for the moment he would unleash it. It was time for Jo-jun to unleash his power when the giant shrimp hadn't even realized what hit it. The shrimp took the blow as if it wanted to die, screaming but unable to make a sound. The giant shrimp fell freely from the sky and crashed onto the ground with a loud thud, breaking the earth beneath it. Doyen landed softly on the ground like a feather in Jusian's cruel gaze, her body trembling as she saw him handle it so effortlessly. The face of the giant shrimp was deformed and lay motionless on the ground. The more she looked at its wounds, the more she realized how terrifying Jo-jun's strength truly is. The person behind Jusian was stunned as they spoke. What now? It's a one-hit kill. Jo-jun raised his foot high and answered, not yet. Then he concentrated all his force to kick it hard in the head, explaining, this is how it needs to be done to ensure it's dead. The surprise of everyone had now turned into a mix of shock at his brutality. Jinju widened her eyes and looked at Jujin as she asked, that person, what was that? She coldly doubted what she just saw and questioned it. Just a strong person. She angrily shook herself to oppose the statement. You say that? Can you defeat a giant shrimp with just one hit? How many heroes can do that? Jujin responded stiffly. If it's just about defeating it, then I could too. Why would you say that? Jinju frowned and lightly punched the person next to her as she argued. Seeing it with her own eyes doesn't mean you can deny it. Moreover, in aerial combat, a blow comes right at your face without dodging, hitting you off balance, all from just one hit. Her words about Jo-jun's true strength made her pause, realizing that this creature isn't an ordinary monster. Jusian looked at him suspiciously. What is the identity of that boy? Suddenly, she coldly shouted out, Sister, we need to change our plan. She took off her glasses and seriously announced, I'll go to the city center for a while. Everyone was speechless at the sudden change in her demeanor. Jusian approached Jejun as he dissected the creature. Hey, just hearing your voice made me quickly refuse. Jusian froze and stood still like a statue. I have no intention of sharing with those who didn't contribute. Jejun handed him a stone to put in his pocket as Jusian tried to defend himself. I didn't mean to claim a share either. Then she slowly explained, it seems your strength doesn't fit here much. Do you want to go deeper? Hearing that, he burst into laughter. Jun seemed quite amused by his response. Listen up! Even though Zeon passed by him like a breeze, she still kindly reminded him, I'm familiar with the terrain here, so I'll lead the way. Follow closely if you don't want to get lost. As soon as Jun stood up, she rushed off, leaving him alone there. Watching Jun follow Ju Jaeon silently, he prepared his stance for battle. Then he shot off like a missile, leaving everyone stunned in shock. They commented on his back. If Ju Jaeon is the bullet, then the other one is the light. Indeed, it's the light. One of the group members asked Jinju, Chairman, shouldn't we go? She silently observed their speed and asked back, do you think you can keep up? He made a strange face and honestly admitted, of course I can't. It's easier said than done. Then she gave orders to everyone. Alright, today we're just here as background support. Just keep searching around like usual. Everyone agreed. Yes. They dispersed according to the instructions, but only Jinju stayed behind, looking at the snail cup and thinking, a class A hero is already revered and admired by everyone. But its cheerful face still made her pause in surprise. Jinju frowned fearfully. In front of a S rank, one is just an insignificant existence. Jujin is the same. She gradually felt uneasy thinking about Jojin and that man too. Turning back to Jujin, she was moving at a speed that human eyes couldn't follow. After a long time, she looked down searching for Jojin's figure. The empty path made Jusian underestimate him silently, Should he slow down a bit? Before she could look up, he had arrived beside her and spoke, making her heart skip a beat. Can't you go faster? His voice startled her so much that she tripped, while he overtook her without any explanation. Jusien panicked, wondering, am I being caught up with? In terms of speed, I'm in the top 2 in South Korea. Suddenly, Giorgione stopped. He turned his head and criticized, you're slower than I thought. Just keep running like that so no one can catch up. Hearing this, Jusien jumped up nervously, denying it. Who said you couldn't be caught up with? Her face turned even redder and more embarrassed. I've never been like that before. Giorgione didn't care, raising his hand to examine something in front of him. A huge mountain with an unusually quiet atmosphere. He spoke, making her confused. Hey, what's over there? Now she clearly saw the mountain and that place. Jusien continued, this is where the boss monster of the VDT NWC area resides. He asked curiously, a boss monster? She closed her eyes in thought, recalling the image of the boss on this mountain. Have you heard about Kassarian? A huge 20-meter-long monster resembling a flying god. Don't think about challenging it. Only 3 S-rank heroes or more can defeat it. Jun looked ahead and replied that it was something with upper-grade magic stones. Jujin confirmed. Yes, it gives upper-grade demon crystals, right below the ultimate grade. Did you hear me say that? Jun moved slowly step by step. Jusien recognized this and worriedly reached out to stop her. I brought you here not for such reckless actions. But Jun ignored her words and rushed off like a missile. Jusien's face was pale with shock as he doubted himself. What are you doing like this? She immediately chased after them. Stop right there. The two of them rushed through the forest together. In just a moment, the dust and smoke covered the entire path. Now their only goal is to reach that mountain. Jusien widened his eyes in fear as he looked ahead. A strong wind blew past her motionless body. Jusien could only wonder what was happening. Before her stood Kassarian's corpse, the dangerous high-level monster just defeated. What is going on? Jun was still calm, dissecting it to find items. She watched coldly. Jusien seemed worried. If you confirm that Kassarian is very strong. Suddenly, he thought of a tall and muscular man named Pachijian, the famous S-rank hero who hunted Kassarian. Even he, when first hunting Kassarian with 30 A-rank heroes, all A-rank heroes died except for Pachijian, who barely survived. Then Park Hee-yin gathered an S-rank hero and 200 A-rank heroes to avenge the fallen. Even though facing Kassarian at a rank level, everyone fought with full force without hesitation. They first shot out ropes to catch it. Kassarian turned its head, glaring dangerously and exhaling flames. Hee-yin advanced confidently alongside the A-rank heroes. It roared as if wanting to devour them alive. With a single movement from Kassarian, all ropes were broken, many lives lost. After much struggle, they finally succeeded in hunting Kassarian, but most of the heroes died. The aftermath was huge. Sweet Life, operated by Park Gijeon, took 3 years to recover from it. Giorgione glanced at Jusien and said sarcastically, do you think I didn't contribute anything? Jusien's face turned red with anger. She was still very surprised. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed it. He fought Kassarian alone without any support. A man like that. She stood there in shock as Giorgione defeated Kassarini effortlessly with 1 strike. After some searching, he retrieved a valuable item from Kassarian's body. Zozul stared at it intently. He gently put it away and said, I don't need to be guided anymore. Zozul walked away, leaving Jusien behind. From now on, I'll act alone. She looked at Kassarian's body and asked Zozul, why didn't you take the byproducts of Kassarian? He replied, besides the stone, there are veins too, claws and many valuable academic materials as well. Suddenly he stopped. Jun turned back with a smile and honestly said, that's not worth money. Jujin stood there speechless. Then Jun quickly turned away to continue their journey, still paying for her. It would be more effective to look for magical stones from other monsters. Just take the byproducts as payment. Jusien looked at Kassarian's body in silence. The wind blew through a picturesque scene. She coldly rejected it. I don't need it. The sun was slowly setting. The heroes gathered on an open field in the forest. Jusian returned and threw down a large backpack. Everyone stood still for a moment. One of them said admiringly, "That man borrowed that big backpack and brought back magical stones. Are you kidding? The amount of items in him is unbelievable. Such a quantity would take us at least 20 hours to gather, right? Looking inside, it might take 3 days of hunting." He sighed and wondered, who is he anyway? Jusian leaned against a nearby stone, feeling tired. Jean Juliet looked at her and couldn't help but think that his speed and quantity were beyond words. She widened her eyes in amazement as she recalled what Giusione said. But if what Giusione said was true, he had single-handedly defeated Cassarion without needing any of the 2 special suits at all. Jejun standing boldly on top of the mountain further proved his position now. Just that alone was enough to say that man was the strongest hero in Korea. No, maybe even the strongest in the world. Hearing footsteps, Jean Julian turned around. Jejun appeared with a strong body and a large bag of items, slowly approaching everyone. He gently placed it down to their surprise. Ignoring Jejun's presence, they continued chatting loudly, bringing back so much more. Even if I recount today's story, no one would believe me, only calling me crazy. They joked and teased each other. Let me make this clear. This time, don't tell anyone about it. You say that too, no one would believe you either. Everyone echoed in agreement. It seems so. Giusione approached him. The 2 of them exchanged something before their eyes. Jinju's voice rang out. Those 2 must be getting to know each other, right? He agreed with that sentiment. That's probably true. They should have recognized it when Hien Jusian brought a man here. A while later, Jejun spoke louder. She shouted at Jojin, but everyone still said nice things about the 2 of them. He must be that kind of man to stand next to Hien Jujian without being overshadowed. It looks good too. It's a perfect couple, a talented man and woman. Suddenly Jo Jin-yeol realized something. Wait, saying they are getting to know each other sounds strange. Jo Jun's coldness was evaluated by her. That man treated Ju Jian rather casually. No one treated Giusione like this before. He suddenly gave her a large bag of items and silently went into the deep forest. Giusione fell back in surprise. What is it? That man has left. Didn't he ask any questions? The figure faded away gradually. She glanced at those bags and pointed to him curiously. What about these bags? He left them all behind. Giusione repeated what she had just said to Eugene, telling him that if the defeat of Cassarion was exposed, it would make a huge splash immediately. Then, as June recounted, he said it would be troublesome and told her to handle these things, making Eugene marvel in admiration. She scolded him. What kind of man is this anyway? Giusione remained silent for a moment. She hid her face on one side, blushing as she thought, what kind of man is he really? At the city center where countless tall buildings are located. Among them is a place called Bai, which houses many S-rank heroes from around the world. Hien Jian was preparing to deliver a fierce punch with his menacing eyes into the punching bag as he trained against his opponent. His one punch made the punching bag split into hundreds of images. His determined and slightly fierce eyes looked at his achievement. He angrily cursed himself. Park Hee-yeon's miserable state was real. Park Hee-yeon, an S-rank hero from the Korean Heroes Association, president of the Sweet Life Guild. Suddenly a man approached, looking no different from a multi-level marketing salesman. The longer he endured this tough period now, the higher his reputation as the guild president would soar. Hee-yeon calmly wiped his grimy face and replied, right? This is to give those who underestimate me a well-deserved lesson. The waiter bowed politely in agreement with a cheerful voice. Yes, accumulating little by little will become a solid strength that can unleash explosive power. Hearing these words, everyone would have to kneel before the president at that moment. Heejin immediately nodded in agreement. The waiter took advantage of his momentum and laughed slyly. Moreover, about the strategy against Cassarion, where can we find someone who knows as much as the chairman? Heejin was not happy to hear that. Instead, he seemed quite worried. He praised Heejin without reservation. In the future, you will be remembered as a hero who defeated Kassarian with the smallest number of participants in the world. Perhaps even the Hero Association might recognize your exclusive rights over Kassarian. The servant handed him a bottle of water and kept talking non-stop. Heejin took it with his hand. He tried hard to admit, confident that no one understood better than me. But he hesitated for a moment before showing the young photo and numerous awards, sincerely saying, "Compared to 3 years ago, our club has progressed too much in thought." Nevertheless, his pride and confidence have always remained within him. After all, only I can be certain of defeating that submerged monster. Right, the servant with big eyes and small eyes happily replied. Yes, who else could do it besides the chairman? There was a lot of commotion in the company. Turns out everyone there had taken an interest in his dossier. Young Pyo Hero S from the Korean Hero Association. Kang Chien-woo's cousin looked at him curiously. Do-jun? That name! The assistant behind recounted everything. A few months ago, Hero Kang Chien-woo tried to eliminate him by bringing him in through the gate. Young Pyo asked back, didn't he die and awaken there? He hesitated for a moment before answering. Yes, that's right. He said, continue. The assistant continued, the client is Hong Hee-ju, the professional manager of T Corporation. She is also the second daughter of WKF Group. Pyo wondered, isn't she a golden spoon baby? Why would she do this to someone like him? He recounted everything he knew, saying that Do-jun was the illegitimate son of T Corporation, entering the house at 5 to 7 years old, but Hong Hee-ju had her own son 6 years ago. So he was kicked out. Pyo laughed disdainfully as if mocking him. After all, they are blood relatives. It seems like the business tycoons aren't worth much either. Then he stepped down and asked, how much did Chien-woo get? Pyo approached the golf area. The servant answered 3 billion. He said coldly, is that all? He slowly picked up his club and mentioned Chien-woo. I heard he became a cripple. The assistant behind said, yes, I heard he was just beaten up, but his whole body was severely burned, both eyes were blind, barely hanging on to life. Young Pyo started hitting the ball into the hole while muttering, indeed, a cruel person. A refined and elegant posture that contrasted with what came out of his mouth. Suddenly, young Pyo looked up at the sky, licked his lips, and thought to himself, if it were me, I would have cut him into pieces and crushed his head. The assistant continued reporting, and on the scene, he said, there are rumors that Hyun Ju Jeon helped Do-jun. While listening to Young Pyo's ball strike, the ball went faster than usual. And the force direction always passed over the hole. Young Pyo, frenzied near his neck, asked the assistant urgently, why did Hyun Ju Jeon do that? Why would she help him? What's her connection to him? The assistant was a bit scared and hesitant. Well, thanks to Hyun Ju Jeon's testimony with the police, the case ended quietly. This exceeded Young Pyo's limit. He grabbed the assistant by his collar and yelled, investigate right away. What is the connection? If there's no connection, there must be some kind of transaction. Find out what that is. The assistant was terrified and quickly replied, yes, I will look into it immediately. Young Pyo's face darkened with a look of indescribable frustration. Frustrated to the point of breaking the club he held in his hand, then he threw it forward. Young Pyo tried to suppress his anger and smirked. Soon Hong Hee-ju will come to me for help that Chien-woo couldn't do. He muttered, good thing. Suddenly, he pulled out his disgusting tongue and gave a twisted smile. As a wealthy family's wife, she definitely has plenty of money. The scene shifts to Jun walking alone on an empty street at night. Wearing a serious expression, Jun focused deeply, as expected. Searching by the watermark was much more effective than checking the gate. Should I keep relying on Hyun Ju Jeon's help from now on? He recalled what she said when they were together in the water. If selling stones and using Kassarian's technique, who caught them? Has my strength been proven? The media will be all over it day and night, so we should keep this for now. If you want to become famous, I won't stop you. What do I do now? Giorgione immediately handed her his item bag after saying that. He couldn't help but laugh helplessly and had to find another way to reach the water area. Since it takes a lot of energy in the water, Giorgione decided to rest at Seep's newly prepared empty house first. He began opening the gate and entered. Suddenly, something below made him pause. Tidily ranged shoes appeared in Giorgione's house. Shoes! As soon as Giorgione opened the door, someone called out to her. In front of him stood a group of bodyguards led by a thin man. They surrounded his wife and baby Yoon-young. His face was extremely sharp and dangerous. Seeing Jo-jun enter, the little girl ran into his arms. Opa Opa, Jo-jun asked curiously, "Who are these people?" He replied, "Jo-jun, I'm Prosecutor Park Shin-yoon from Seoul Local Prosecution Office. You know Seep Hong, right?" Jo-jun's eyes widened in shock. The warm sunlight illuminated the space of the prison. Inside the large building, Do-jun was tightly handcuffed to a chair behind him, constantly observing his surroundings. Someone from outside came and answered a phone call. "Yes, sir, don't worry about it." Seep Hong and Seo Jo-jun were very well behaved. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. "Thank you for paying attention to my daughter's education." Standing in front of the monitor, Shin Eong continued negotiating with the other party on the phone. "Please convey my warm regards to Director Hong." The image of Do-jun being handcuffed fascinated him. "That's why I became a prosecutor." Pause for a moment and laugh, sweeping away the dregs from society. After a while, Shin Il-hong entered the interrogation room and slammed a piece of paper on the table. His face showed discomfort as he questioned Do-jun. "So, what have you done all this time? With these charges alone, you deserve 10 years in prison." Then Shin Il-hong held up one of the documents to show him. "We have solid evidence of your illegal loan activities, Seep Hong." Do-jun's face turned dark with discomfort. Seeing he didn't respond, Shin Il-hong lost his temper and shouted, "Look at this scoundrel. Do you think I'm framing you?" Suddenly, Do-jun confirmed something that made him speechless. "Hong Hee-ju is your daughter, right?" Shin Il-hong angrily slammed his hand on the table and asked again, "Who? Hong Hee-ju? Who is this person?" Meanwhile, Do-jun frowned in thought. "It seems Seep Hong has been completely defeated. I should stay silent to avoid making things worse." At the same time, Shin Il-hong tried to calm down and asked, "You heard something from somewhere, brat." He then rose up and pressed close to him. "Do you think a prosecutor of South Korea is ordinary? Your life is over. Fool." Immediately after, Do-jun gave him a menacing glare that made Shin Il-hong flinch as he backed away, sweat pouring down his face. He quickly stood up and stammered, "Name it." Despite this, after some thought, all he could do was scream at the scoundrel. Just when Shin Il-hong raised his hand to hit him, a sound stopped him. Another staff member opened the door and gently called out, "Can the prosecutor take you outside for a moment, please?" Line 60 is intentionally left blank as per the instruction. In the large hallway, Shin Il-hong's scream echoed everywhere. He tried to stay calm as he looked at the paper in front of him. "Is it broken?" The person across responded softly, "No, sir. I've already checked it thoroughly. But the machine isn't having any issues." What's written on that report confused him. So why did the awakening detector say he was a civilian? Does that make sense for him to be called Georgina? The helpless employee stopped and looked at Shin Il-hong with some fear. "I'm not sure either. Maybe the information about his awakening is incorrect." At this moment, he silently pondered, "But these are data from T Corporation's investigation. It can't be wrong. He knows Hong Hee-ju's name. Who exactly is that guy?" In the interview room, Jun sighed deeply and angrily. "Now I understand why they call Korean prosecutors hunting dogs of the prosecution office, because we've already ruined everything." While he was lost in thought, the door slowly opened. "Let's take you and UN to a safe place." After pushing open the door, Jusun entered with a bit of malice. "What are you doing here?" Seeing it was her, Jun relaxed and stepped back. "I don't know what I'm doing here either." Zeon, who looked uncomfortable, turned to him questioning, "Please don't act rashly. I understand you're in a mess, but if you use your power, the consequences could be terrible." Facing her confidence, he was taken aback. "Are you going to help me?" However, she stood with folded arms, not really helping. Jusun stared intently at him. I just know now that you didn't do anything wrong. If we don't know yet, so be it. But when an innocent person is wrongly accused, we must correct the mistake. Hearing this, Giorgione laughed in response. Old man, continuing his explanation, Juzin said, the Fake Awakening Association will start an investigation. They are monitoring both the illegal fake awakenings and the new water source at Marple. Giorgione didn't care about that and asked something else, leaving her stunned. What about my family? Juzin showed discomfort as she waved him off. Do you think I'm your assistant? Why should I worry about your family? Immediately, Jojin's eyes sharpened at her. Juzin became flustered and avoided his gaze. Before turning to leave, she softly reassured him. They are safe now, so don't worry too much. Hearing this, he sighed in relief. Thank you. I won't forget this debt. Juzin blushed and looked at him awkwardly. Anyway, just bear with it for a little longer. I'll handle this as soon as possible. The way Juzin chose isn't directly proving Giorgione's innocence. Instead, she uncovered the bribery and illegal demands of prosecutor Pak Xiaoyong, who caused his dismissal. Through a fair investigation, it confirmed that Jun was completely innocent. Although he couldn't avoid punishment for possessing an illegal fake awakening permit due to Juzian's positive protection, this issue ended with a suspended sentence. In the car taking them, the atmosphere remained tense. A notice suddenly sounds. Currently in the United Kingdom, a previously unknown monster is attacking the people. This horse-like monster stands 1.5 meters tall, has 4 eyes, and impressive jumping ability. Before it could finish speaking, Jun's voice boomed out. It's a Markazian. Jujin was extremely surprised by what he said, widening his eyes to look at him. Huh? How do you know? This is a new type of monster. Only the association knows its name. Looking at his calm demeanor, Jusian was extremely puzzled. Monster names aren't just given randomly. Magic stones contain special energy and unique data. By analyzing them, one can learn the monster's name and related information. In modern times, this relies on science. But in a destroyed world, it uses magic. Simply put, as long as the same type of monsters appear in both worlds, Jun knows most of their names. He leaned back comfortably in his chair and continued to share useful information with her. Markazians can be easily exterminated using a substance extracted from red flower insects. This is somewhat new to Juzian, the red flower insect. Seeing she seemed curious, he turned to explain that it's harmless to humans. But for Markazians, it's a powerful paralyzing toxin. If we spray it on them, they won't move like this anymore. After hearing him, she was silent for a moment, her eyebrows furrowed in suspicion and slight tremor, finally wondering who he is. However, Du remained seated silently, staring straight ahead. The car that had been speeding on the road suddenly stopped decisively. Jusian looked at him hesitantly. Seeing Jun still silent, she began to get angry. Are you listening to me? After Ju Jian finished reading her lines for a long time, Jun finally slowly moved his lips. If now, with his sharp gaze threateningly, I killed you, what would happen?